the way that these rookie contracts work, especially at the top, they are very front-loaded with a big signing bonus, and Josh Rosen already has $11 million plus from the Cardinals. $6.2 million remains over the next 3 years combined. That is a steal. Think about that. What it would cost to sign a guy on the open market to play quarterback, you're paying $2.06 million roughly per year for Josh Rosen over the next 3 years. That's a hell of a bargain. For a team like Washington that is thinking about going with Colt McCoy, who's making $3 million, you go for Josh Rosen. And I think the fact that the contract is so favorable, that's what makes me skeptical about this idea that only a third-round pick is in play for Josh Rosen. I think more than a third-round pick is in play because of the contract, because of the opportunity, because of the need out there. It's not the same need that we saw last year, but there are plenty of teams that have older starters that would love to have the opportunity, setting aside Washington for now, which needs a quarterback with Alex Smith unable to play. Whether it's the Giants, whether it's the Patriots, a team that has an older guy and they get a 3-year opportunity at $6.2 million to evaluate Josh Rosen, that's a hell of a deal financially. The question is, what does it cost you by way of a draft pick?
Yeah, what does it cost you by way of the draft pick? And Mike, let's also not forget, there was a number of teams that just were not in love with Josh Rosen and, the way he, was perceived, let's say, coming out of the NFL, coming out into the NFL draft. There was a lot of question marks, whether, he was a privileged kid, he on social media, through the years at UCLA had a few things that certainly the teams didn't like. He didn't rub everybody the right way.
Well, okay,
I know.
Let's hang on a second.
Yeah,
what happened last year? What happened last year?
You're exactly right. He was professional as can be, certainly. So I'm not one saying I like the Rosen one and some of his antics. I actually prefer and enjoy his honesty and his challenging of the system sometimes on social media. But at the same time, you and I know a lot of NFL teams and franchises, and they don't love people like that, especially at the quarterback position. That scares them to death that the face of their franchise could be on there.
God forbid the robots have brains.
Exactly right. That's what they're worried about. So that also plays into this. But your point about the money being paid already certainly adds to his trade value. There's no question about that. I don't know if I would sit here and go, he's going to fetch a first-round pick, and I don't think I would say he's going to fetch a third-round pick. But I think a second-round pick, when I kind of just look at it, I could see that totally being a real option as we go, because we still don't know what Josh Rosen is totally as a quarterback in the NFL. He's still an unproven commodity. And there is still going to be the question about can he take a beating at the quarterback position? That was another issue about evaluating him. Kind of a narrow-shouldered guy, a little frail that way, had an injury history at UCLA. All those things, I think, play into the factor of trading him, and I think ultimately some of those things will stop it from being a first-round pick and maybe make it a second-round pick to a team who fancies him and likes his skill set.
All right, let's get to the point then. It was something that was tweeted on your Twitter account. I have a feeling that you're not putting out many of these tweets because you've been very social media averse, but they're forcing you.
I'm trying to up my game. Yes.
Well, you tweeted the question that we're going to be debating now. Who gets more in a trade, Josh Rosen or Antonio Brown, Mr. Big Brain or Mr. Big Chest? Right now, Rosen, hey, I'm surprised, but I agree that Rosen is worth more in trade by way of what you're getting, by way of the importance of the position, how many years he could end up being on your team, and the total financial investment. Remember, that financial investment is a huge factor in what a team gives up in trade because it all goes into the same pot. It is draft picks plus whatever you have to pay. And there's value in draft picks. And if you can get a guy for cheaper, then maybe you give up more by way of draft picks. If you have to spend a lot of money to get the guy, you're less inclined to give up those draft picks. So I think Rosen should be more valuable than Antonio Brown, even if it doesn't work out that way.
It's really close. It's a great conversation and debate, really, because, yes, you made all the points for Josh Rosen, certainly. Antonio Brown is clearly the more proven commodity and certainly one of the best at his position in the NFL. But then you got to take into account, is he going to want a new contract? You got to take into account the baggage that might come along with Antonio Brown. Is he going to ruffle the feathers within our locker room? All of those things certainly detract from the value of Antonio Brown in a trade. I am going to say still, though, I think Antonio Brown will fetch a little bit more than Josh Rosen in a trade at this point. I still think Antonio Brown is looked at throughout the league as one of the 3 or 4 best wide receivers in football. And to the point I make with Josh Rosen, Rosen, I think, lessens the value. It's a weird year. You know, you talk about Washington. Washington's really the only team we can look at right now and go, holy cow, they need somebody. Definitely, now that we're hearing Nick Foles is going to maybe be in Jacksonville. So that's where I think that Rosen's camp would fall into the problem there. Is there enough market there to kind of drive up the trade price and maybe get it to the first round? So I lean towards Antonio Brown in this convo.
I want to mention something that came up yesterday, and I know you disagree with it, but it's not about whether you or I disagree with it. It's whether others in the league see any merit to this. When you've got Scott McCloughan, who was a successful general manager, ultimately was with Washington, I think got ran out under hyped-up charges a couple of years ago, but when McCloughan says that Kyler Murray is the best quarterback in this draft, but not as good as the 5 last year, that includes Rosen. And that resonates with me, okay? And I know you disagree with it, but if there are people who believe that, and the Cardinals are thinking about making Murray the first overall pick in the draft, that just tells me there is value in Rosen. It makes me wonder why they're sufficiently smitten with Murray to throw Rosen overboard. But if there are other guys out there that think that Rosen is that good, that Rosen actually is better than Kyler Murray, then that would drive up the market as well.
I mean, Rosen is good. I really don't. I mean, as far as, hey, decision-making, the ability to throw the football, Mike, I mean, it's all there. It's there to be had. He certainly can be extremely effective as a pocket quarterback in the NFL. But I think that's the last phrase there, pocket quarterback. This is the day and age of, you know, eliteness. And, hey, the quarterback no longer, for the most part, not everybody's got Tom Brady's offensive line and game planning and things like that to where he's going to be able to sit in a pocket and make decisions and throws like that. Most quarterbacks in the NFL are having to move, having to make plays off schedule. Josh Rosen saw that last year. There wasn't a lot of people open. He didn't have great pass protection. Well, you know what? Kyler Murray's the type of guy that, oh, I don't have great pass protection. Watch me just run around everybody. Zing, zing, zoom, zoom. And then all of a sudden he finds somebody open. So that's the specialness of what Kyler Murray is. He brings some special physical abilities to the table that, yeah, you might be scared of his size. Okay, yeah, Josh Rosen might be prototypical, but Kyler Murray can do some things that we've seen very few quarterbacks come along that can really do what he can do.
Well, the clock is ticking more loudly with Brown than it is with Rosen because with Brown, the Steelers remain very motivated to clear him off the books before March 17. That's when another $2.5 million. No, I'm going to win. No, I'm going to win. And it's funny because I've been thinking about, you know, what kind of steak I want and whether I've never had one prepared medium rare intentionally.
What?
I've gotten one that I made at home accidentally medium rare. I typically go medium.
Thank you.
But I think when you buy me my steak, I will order medium rare for the first time.
Why? I mean, I feel like, I mean, why would you ever? I don't understand medium rare. I don't understand that.
That's how you eat steak.
No, that's how you eat a dead animal on the side of the road. I don't understand that. I think still breathing at medium rare.
Wait a minute. You eat dead animals on the side of the road?
No, I just feel like it's like fresh kill still. It's like still bleeding inside. It's medium rare. I can't do it.
We need a Twitter poll right now.
Fine.
Best temperature to order steak at.
Medium well is the way to go.
I'll do it during the break. Medium
pink.
well.
Yes.
Just eat a hamburger for crying out loud if you're going to get it medium well. That little thing of pink, that's just for show. It adds nothing to the flavor.
The flavor.
It just that little line of pink just tells the world I am not a complete and total idiot.
Don't tell me what
that
my
I don't get well done
taste.
steak.
Don't tell me about my taste buds. I like the way medium well tastes.
Well, you know what? If you win the bet, I'll just give you a bag of beef jerky to gnaw on. It's the same damn thing.
Yeah, you know what? I think if I win the bet, I'm going to get a steak well done and charred and still hope it's $65 just to rub it into you.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.